Welcome to Nürburgring on a sunny afternoon. It's not that warm, it's the end of summer here, but the good thing is the rain clouds from earlier today have moved away. You never know what's coming at the Nürburgring, but we're set fair for the first of two races here this weekend. I'm Bruce Jones, joined by Tommy Erdos. Yes, clouds in the sky, but humidity's tumbled to 59%, so it's a comfortable environment out there. 20 degrees air temperature, not a bad time to go racing.
Excellent weather actually in Nürburgring, which you can never predict, so we're happy to see the sunshine, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the race slightly delayed because in the previous session some curbing stones got displaced on the exit of the second chicane, the final chicane. Those have all been sorted out. We're still going to have 50 minutes of racing as per the plan ahead of us, and Michael O'Brien starting on pole position, but it's the championship leading car. But Tommy, the top class is covered by 4 points for the top three cars, so there is plenty to fight for. And the car that's second on the grid is coming into the mix as well. We've got Leo Caravasili in that, and he's just taken it to this. He's a ski racer, like a duck to water.
Very impressive driver there. I'm happy that you said his name because it's a bit of a mouthful for me to say. But he's been doing incredibly well in the championship. And yes, 4 points covers the top three in the championship. What a great position to be in after what it is now. Well, today, I suppose it marks the second half of the championship. You know, these guys have had a great 2 races at Spa. So yeah, on to the Nürburgring.
It is. It's all about stepping forward. And what we've seen ever since the start of this series a few years ago is drivers making progress. And a lot of them have come in without too much experience, but they're making advances, and particularly with Leo Caravasili. That's a great marker. But he's not alone. We've seen many others, and certainly it's a proving ground. Very
much so, yeah. Really young guns really coming through the McLaren grid there. Obviously, Jaden Kelly, Sam Nesser. Yeah, we have some fantastic drivers on the field right now.
Well, the one with bragging rights is Michael O'Brien because he's on pole position, and we're going down to hear from him on the grid.
Hello, Michael. Right, this is exactly where you need to be at a track like this. 4 points split you and the gaggle behind you. I guess foot to the floor, that's the strategy?
That's the plan, right? Yeah, just first of all to get a good start. I think that's going to be key because, like you just touched on, the overtaking is going to be quite hard around here. Yeah. So just to try and stay ahead, clean start, and yeah, just chip away from there. Good.
You seem cool, calm, collected. How's the car feeling?
Car's feeling great. It's been a good couple of days so far. Nice qualifying this morning. So now the important bit comes, and yeah, just trying to convert a good qualifying.
Good. Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, very low cars, aren't they? Seeing Alex Legui having to get down to ground level, but up the grid. Of course, a lot of these cars running, well, 12 of the 15 running with a 2-driver format, but 3 in the AM class are running solos. They have a bit more work to do, don't they?
That's right. So you have obviously people like Danny Henry who doesn't like sharing anything. So he does the full 50-minute races, and great competitor Danny there. So yeah, still in for grabs with the for the AM class championship. But we touched on Leonidas Caravasili there on the second row of the grid, or second position. What an incredible performance, because these guys actually missed the first round at Brands Hatch. And so obviously 2 races that they didn't score at all, but they now lie only 13 points behind the leader, well within a chance of the championship.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's hear from a driver who always flies, Alejandro Geppert, car number 12.
Right, Alejandro, P4 at a track like Nürburgring. How do you balance the risk versus reward on lap 1 here?
It's very tricky, definitely. Turn 1 is a tricky place. You can win it everything or lose it everything. So, yeah, I mean, it's about being smart in the risks you take. We are fighting for the championship, so we need to be very smart.
Yeah. Serious, but you're very, very close championship, isn't it? This. How are you doing with that?
Yeah, we're back in the fight. We are 4 points behind the leader. So it's about maximizing every session. There's just 4 races left, 2 rounds. So yeah, we are really going for it.
Good. I was on.
Thank you.
Well, I tell you what, he and his teammate Will Aspin be wanting one thing here, a win. They haven't won this season. They had a stumble at the first round. The car didn't start. So actually super consistent.
Very much so. These guys are both very quick behind the wheel of the SMC car. They actually won the second race. So you're right, the first race they had an issue obviously that delayed him, but they were winners at Spa for the second round, and that really put him back into contention in the championship. That's why they're 4 points adrift, but very much in contention. Obviously, you know, 60 points to grab the per weekend, sorry, for the next 4 races, so 30 points per weekend. So there's a lot of points on the table.
Yeah, just got to keep being consistent. One drop score is something that really is going to hurt you. Alpha B, always in the reckoning. Eric Behrens will be starting that one, and he is the top qualifier in the Pro-Am class, isn't he? So he's done very well indeed, 7th overall. But let's go down to the grid, and we're going to hear from Sam Nesser, hear what he thinks ahead of the race.
Now, you boys have been on top all season. What is the plan here? How strong or how confident are you feeling in the car?
Fairly confident, to be fair. I mean, we're not as high up as we'd like to be in qualifying, but you know, that just adds a bit of fuel to the fire to go forward and push. No reason why me and Josh can't put a good result together. And yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why we can't battle for the championship lead to take it over this weekend at all. You
and Josh have become what's a very, very good pairing. What is it, do you think, that what is it that you two have as a duo?
We've got quite a good chemistry, to be fair. We're both pushing towards the same sort of, you know, value. We both have the same sort of attitude that we're settling for nothing but top, which I think, you know, complements each other quite well. Yeah.
Good. All right. What's your experience around Nürburgring?
Never been.
Oh.
Never been here.
Your entire rookie. Well, it's not the worst place to be starting it, but hopefully you finish a little higher up, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to think we'd go nowhere but forward, to be fair. So yeah, I'll have to see how it goes.
Enjoy.
Well, Tommy, plenty of space at the opening corner. Of course, Sam Nesser will not be starting the race. That'll be Josh Mason, his teammate, who'll be doing that. But, you know, the first sequence of corners, that turn 1 seems really wide when you start turning in. Then it comes back on you quite a lot. But if you get it wrong there, you can maybe get it right at turn 2, etc. The first 4 corners really sort out the field, don't they?
Yeah, it's very key to obviously get out of that first corner cleanly. So it's very easy, as he said, that you know you can get into trouble. That was actually Alejandro Geppert said, you know, you can very easily get into trouble at turn 1 because it does tighten up a lot. It's more than a 90-degree turn. It really kind of comes back around you. So you got to be careful in the first 2 rounds and just survive turns 1 to 4.
Well, let's go down here from a driver with plenty of experience, Ollie Webb.
Right, you are Pro-Am class leaders. You need a win here, don't you, in class? How good is Ryan's start at the moment?
He's had really good reactions this year, so I'm excited about the start. Eric has been very quick in quali, and yeah, their combination of Pro and Am is very, very strong. So we'd love an extra win. I think we got a 10-point lead, but it's not enough with their pace they've got at the moment. So yeah, I'm excited for the race.
You have a lot of experience around this track, more than quite a lot down this grid. How are you feeling? What are you boys learning? What have you learned about the car so far?
The car's been pretty consistent. It's the weather that's a bit strange. It can be totally sunny and blue like this, and then 20 minutes later we might get rain at the end of the race. So we do have wets waiting in the pit lane. Hopefully we don't need to use them, but we do have a pit stop to consider, so anything can happen.
Standard Nürburgring, right?
Exactly.
Good. All right, have a good race.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's the proof that Ollie's been here before. He most certainly has, but a really firm hand in this championship, Ollie Webb, isn't he?
Very much so. He's such a good guy to have as a partner. You know, Ryan James working with him and learning lots from him. Doing a great job himself, Ryan. Has good pace, but they now have a championship to fight for with Eric Behrens and Lucas Sundal going very, very well. They've got a lot of pace. He mentioned about their qualifying pace being strong, but they're also very strong in the race.
That's what you need. So we got people are leaving the grid now. The grid clear. 15 cars to look at down there. 3 different classes. Pro down in 7th place, the best of Pro-Ams, and the best of the Ams is just 2 places further back. Andreas Grinding, car number 28. We'll look for those through the course of the race. One thing worth pointing out, if you're watching McLaren Trophy race for the first time, when it gets the pit stops around the middle point of this 50-minute race, the pros and the Pro-Ams, they come in for, have to be 60 seconds. Is that at a standstill, 50, or is that pit in to pit out?
No, that's the standstill. It will be, so the Pro and the Pro-Am, as you said, it will be 60 seconds standstill. Of course, they have to pit in and pit out will cost them 27 seconds at 50 kilometers per hour, which is the speed limit. So they need to, obviously that's going to be added to the time they're spending in the pits. But the M class only stays stationary for 46 seconds, of course, plus the 27 seconds through the pit lane. So the Ms have a bit of an advantage through the pits.
Certainly do. We'll see how it unfolds. Now, also, you have success penalties. So as the cars go on their parade, if you win your class in a race, you have more time to serve in a pit stop in the following race. And that means car number 12 will be pinned back. We heard from Alejandro Geppert on the grid. He and Will Aspin will have 7 seconds extra at their pit stop. That's a factor that can jumble up the order and lead to a real chase right through to the end of the 50 minutes as they're trying to make up the ground they lost.
Absolutely. I think we've obviously started this from the beginning of the championship back in 2023. It's been working really, really well. And in fact, the 7 seconds penalty for the previous winner actually can get even bigger in terms of constantly. So it actually accumulates, and you can get up to 10 or 15 seconds even. So it's, but it seems to be a very fair system. But yes, car 12 now with that handicap of 7 seconds. Car 90, Sam Harrison and Leonidas, who are doing very well, they will have 5 seconds added because they did very well in Spa, finished in second, and car 68 will have 3 seconds added.
And just to make things even more complicated for all involved in the Pro-Am class, just seeing Eric Behrens on pole in that on the 4th row of the grid. They will be stationary for an extra 10 seconds in their class, but if you win in the AM class, it's even more comprehensive. 15 seconds extra at your pit stop. Many things, but we don't have to think about them for now. We're going to focus on the 15 cars going around the fields, split across the 3 classes. Track conditions absolutely perfect for them. They get to the bottom of the hill down at turn 8, and the lead cars following around the Artura that's leading them around to their start. Track conditions fabulous. We've got to look at the curbing at turn 16 when they get there. That's the bit that just had to be repaired. That's where we're running slightly late, but we've still got 50 minutes of racing as per plan ahead of us. Ooh, tail happy there from, that'd be Will Aspin, wouldn't it, kicking the tail out. He's starting from 4th on the grid, but sitting 3rd in the championship. Just worth reiterating, top 3 cars covered by just 4 points, and it's not like, well, their scores are 57 points, 56, 53. That is super, super close. How many points for a win, Tommy?
So it's 15 points. 15 points for a win. And incredibly close throughout the classes as well. A Pro-Am, you saw now Ollie Webb talking on the grid. They have a real challenge in Eric Behrens and Lucas Sundell.
Right-hand side, just over the edge of the circuit, where the grass should be, that is where the curbing has had to be repaired. Not the red and white curbing, it's the concrete blocks beyond. They're like cobbles and the little concrete strip beyond that. And the reason there was a delay, not just to put them in, it was waiting for the cement to dry sufficiently. Hopefully these cars won't be vaulting over the curbs as some of the other classes have been to the same extent, but racers are racers, and you never know. But with a field of 15, hopefully that will give this the first few laps, still for the first few laps, give it a few more minutes in, weak sunshine here to dry out a bit more, but quite clearly you can't have cobblestones being kicked up by cars.
No, that will be really an issue in the race if they start going over that too much. I wonder if Trevor Williams, the race director, had a word with the drivers and the teams, obviously, to pass on information to try and keep out of that, if possible. But as you say, racers are racers, and they will use what they want to use on track. But that could be an issue, really, if that doesn't look very dry to me, frankly, on that shot we just saw. So, yeah, they literally just finished the repairs before the start.
Well, they worked hard as ever. So pole position is on the right-hand side of the track as we look at them from high up. It's the Hilton livery car. Michael O'Brien will be starting on pole position. Second on the grid will be Leo Caravasili. And the green flag waved at the back, meaning all is good for the start procedure to really kick in towards the end. And looks like a tidy start, pretty much from all concerned. But Michael O'Brien absolutely nailed it. And the driver of car number 43, Josh Mason, has gained 1, 2, 3, 4 places. 5th he was, he's up to 2nd. In 3 places, do the maths, Jones, but anyhow, he's got right towards the front end, but suddenly Leo Caravasili is starting to fight back. Car number 90 tries to go around the outside. There's a lot of outside through the first few corners, and the 7 Pro Class cars just starting to pull clear already, just be able to tack on their tyres much, much harder than those further back.
Yes, Caravasili there very late on the brakes into turn 3, nearly made contact with the car in front of Michael O'Brien, but slotted back into 2nd. Great start by Josh Mason, by the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. Oh, a little bit wide, the tail of number 9. Not running away from Tom Holland, but it does mean team boss Martin Plowman, who's on board this weekend alongside him, may get to have a race, but he might have been standing in the garage thinking, oh, well, I can take my help, I'll take my race suit off now, but a big, big save. But tidy start from Michael O'Brien. Not the best of starts from Leo Caravasili, but he's recovered ground, and the driver who went from 5th to 2nd is down in 3rd now, but Josh Mason, he'll be very, very pleased with that start. He'll love watching that start on replay and replay again, because he absolutely nailed it in the run down to turn 1.
This start really shows how these guys are now really aware of the championship at stake now. Only 4 points between these cars, and they know that every race will count now. So yeah, they are looking very racy at this stage, which is great to see.
Yeah, and the one that is in second place isn't in their championship battle as yet. It's the car shared by Leo Caravasili and his teammate Sam Harrison. They're quick, but you've been telling me before, they're making up ground. They're getting towards those top three, and they've got one of them behind them, which is the car that's third in the championship, the Geppert and Aspin car. And every time they can take points off those ahead, they will be closing in this battle. Don't make mistakes, learn as you go. But for Leo Caravasili, a ski racer in an earlier life, not that much earlier, he's not that many years on the clock, but clearly that innate understanding of balance and understanding how to handle speed and keep your speed. That's what you do in skiing. It's a little check with the rear to bring it down. But the battling is in the battle for 5th place. One of the SMC Motorsport cars pushing and shoving and looking for a space, but it's not just happening yet. That's Harry Burgoyne in car number 68, still in 6th place, troubling Tom Holland. But of course, Holland was the driver who really got the tail out on that number 9 car we're looking at now on the turn 3 on the opening lap. Saved it, but only just.
Yeah, was that Will Aspin? They got through there on to past Josh Mason, I believe. So good move there by the SMC car. Now in P3, so very good move. Yes, we talked about Leonidas there. He's very, in car 90, Leonidas Caravasili, very impressive driving. Remember, they've missed the first round. 2 races they did not score, and yet they're still fighting. They're now fighting for the championship. Yes, they're 13 points behind, but they've been incredibly consistent, scoring, I think, 2 second places and 3 third places. So they are definitely ones to watch.
Yeah, great to see new combinations coming up, but it was very, very important for Will Aspin to get ahead of Josh Mason. Let's take a look at the start of the race. Pole sitter on the right-hand side of the circuit from our point of view. That's Michael O'Brien. Brilliant start from the Aquamarine car, coming up the middle into second place. However, he wasn't to stay there for very long because Leo Caravasili in that sort out between turns 1 and 2 so many times at the Nürburgring. If you're on the inside, you become the outside at turn 2, and he had to brave it out around there. But right now what we're seeing is Michael O'Brien pulling clear. Keep it clean, keep pulling away. He's 9/10 of a second clear of Caravasili. That was the start of the lap. It's now 1.5 seconds. So the first of the 3 timing sectors has been very useful indeed. That sector ends just as you get down to the turn 8 hairpin. But now he's just starting to settle in. But for Michael O'Brien, second generation racer, he just seems always so super cool, calm, and is heading clear.
Absolutely, I'm a big fan. Michael, I've complimented him on many occasions, and he deserves it. He's a true professional start there. He claimed that right-hand side of the track immediately into turn 1. Make no mistakes, this is my corner kind of attitude, and then now he's pulling away with a nice gap. So, but some people may be thinking, why was he on the left side of the grid? As you said, rightly, right from our perspective, yeah. Because this is obviously a standing still start. The left side of the grid is where the rubber is. That's where the grip is. Had it been a rolling start, it would have been the opposite, because obviously the first turn is right-hander, so it would have been the opposite on the grid. But in America, in the Trophy America races, they do a rolling start. But here in Europe, sorry, we elected to do the standing still start, which gives an element of
They're all skills you need to learn. Just seen Danny Henry, he's leading the AM class. He's one of the drivers in there who's running solo, leading the blue and yellow car. Eric Behrens leading the Pro-Am class as well. There he is in 7th place overall in the graphic, with Ryan James just 1 and a bit seconds behind him. But up front, it's 1.5 seconds clear in the race lead for Michael O'Brien from Leo Caravasili. Will Aspin moved up into 3rd place. Important move for him, because he got to get ahead of championship rival Josh Mason, who thought he'd done all his work with that vault from 5th place upwards.
Yes, talking to one of the drivers earlier today, saying that the degradation of tyres here at Nürburgring is quite high in these cars, because we have the nature of the corners here, very sort of lingering corners. So you stay in the corners for a long period of time, and they're finding quite a bit of difference between new tyres and, say 10, 15 laps old tyres. So they're losing somewhere between 2.5, 3 seconds sometimes, which is quite a bit more than some of the other tracks. So they need to really keep that in mind. The initial drivers for giving the car back with some tyres left.
Yeah, exactly so. But in fact, I think it was described very well by my co-commentator in the GT World Challenge, a driver who has plenty of experience, of course, in the McLaren Trophy, Joe Osborne. He's saying basically here, every corner is linked to another one. They sort of come in pairs. So there's not a lot of time when you're not sort of adjusting between one and the next and just constantly. It's a low grip circuit, and that some people might think, does that mean it doesn't eat the tyres? Well, it does. Certainly does. And
yes.
It's interesting on the tyres that you're using, the McLaren Trophy.
Yes.
It's a real factor to be considered.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so something they have to really, think about it before they push too hard. Also, the push to pass button that we have in the series, they need to be looking after those as well.
What we've got now is breakaway race leader Michael O'Brien, then 5 cars nearly nose to tail. Leo Caravasili, Will Aspin, Josh Mason, Tom Holland, and Harry Burgoyne right on the tail. There he is, car number 68, the second of the SMC Motorsport cars down the hill into the shade fleetingly, and then back out. It's good to have sunshine. We didn't know what we were going to get today. Hey, it is the Nürburgring. You never do. Trust me, I've been coming here for decades, but I still absolutely love this circuit.
It's a great track to drive, absolutely, really flowing circuit, a bit like Donington in a way, and very smooth as well. But yes, Michael O'Brien there pulling away a lovely lead, and again, with the success penalty, that will have an effect, not on the number 17 car, because they don't have any success penalty. So looking very good at this stage for the 17 Greystone GT car.
Yeah, just to reiterate, if you weren't with us at the start of this, the 2 McLaren Trophy Europe races, we have pit stop success penalty, and if you won the previous race in the top class, you've got to spend an extra 7 seconds. However, our race leader did not finish in the top 3. In the last race, so his pit stop will be absolutely standard as he comes in and hands over to his teammate. So that is a big advantage he's building now, one that would just sort of blossom when he hands to Jaden Kelly. Big gain to be had here.
Yes, absolutely. So Jaden is now in the pits, probably plan A is going exactly as planned, if you will, and looking very good for car 17 for sure.
Right, still plenty of battling. It's the driver in 6th place who's been looking very eager for a couple of laps to get past Tom Holland. Car number 68, Harry Burgoyne. Again, he tried well, that line may almost work, but of course turn 1 is really turn 1 and turn 2 and turn 3. It's just a continuum. But if you get on the outside, you might be on the inside for turn 2 and so on and so forth, and the reverse. But a corner where a lot of people attack is this one, turn 3. It slows the cars right down, nearly swiping, but then it's very tight into turn 4. And some of the GT World Challenge cars, the GT3 cars, were dropping down to first gear there. Most of them were, actually. Wow,
that's really, I didn't think you would use first gear these days, but it is very tight, as you say. But yeah, Harry Burgoyne there really trying everywhere, really trying to get past Tom Holland, but without success, getting the car sideways a little bit. He's obviously under pressure because he's one of the cars that will have success penalty in the pits with 3 seconds added. So he really does need to get through Tom Holland if he can. He is another car, even though it doesn't look great mathematically, but it's still with a chance of the championship.
Right, we've got a couple of guest drivers in the field this weekend. One is actually Martin Plowman, who's the boss of Paddock Motorsport. He's sharing with Tom Holland. But this car, I just heard it come very slowly past us, start-finish straight. Rafael Muncheres, he's the other guest driver for SMC Motorsport. He's slightly rearranged the front right corner. But he can't, when you're in a commentary box, you hear a different engine note. And his last lap was 2 minutes 27, so that's about 20 plus seconds off his best pace. So he's limping his way around.
Yes, and the car that was directly in front of me was the Team Docker there, but we didn't see on screen if there was any contact. That's a great shame because that's Rafael's first race this year as a guest driver, obviously with SMC Motorsport. He did a race with SMC last year in Barcelona, did very well in his 570 GT4, but this is the first time that he's racing the Trophy Evo car.
Okay, well, let's hope whatever damage is to the car, he's driving it so let's hope at least he can continue if the car is in a state where it's just slightly bent, but no damage, no real damage, and then get to do tomorrow's race as well, because at this point in his career, it's all about just getting experience, not just of the car, but also the racing against the other cars in the competition. But for now, he's had his gun slightly spiked, I think you could say, and he's his first sector time. He may well be coming into the pits, may be asked to come into the pits. I haven't seen a black and white warning flag as yet for his car.
It's a lap of 1:59.8 there for Will Aspin in 3rd place. Obviously a very good pace compared, if you look at Michael O'Brien on a 59.5 on the last lap. I suspect Michael O'Brien is beginning to kind of manage the situation there, not using too much tyres and not too much of the push to pass button, which is obviously very key, especially at the end of the race when you need a little bit more power to fight your position.
Yeah, exactly. Just had a change of places there, and Andreas Greiling, who is 2nd in the AM Championship, but is got past Fiona James. Now he's going to try and set past the AM class leader, Danny Henry. Got plenty of time to do so, but again, he just needed to make a move. And the person he's fighting against in the AM Championship is car number 78, which is Tim Docker's car, another of the solo drivers. So he's getting more points than Docker at the moment, so that will help towards his championship challenge. And right now, Andreas Greiling just pressing on. He's sharing with Kevin Rawshite. That's the MS Racing entry, car number 28. Car 43, we're looking at, that's Josh Mason, the car with the catapult start beginning of the race. But here is our race leader, Michael O'Brien. Gap. What was the gap on the start-finish line? 3.8 seconds. Looks so it's maybe even increased a little bit more. In second place, Leo Caravasili. Third place is Will Aspin. Fourth, Josh Mason. There he is, car number 43, and right on his tail, Tom Holland, car number 9. And in behind, having actually lost a bit of ground in the last few laps, is Harry Burgoyne, who'd been pushing so hard. Maybe he'll be able to close on the tail. There he is, the second of the pale blue and orange cars from SMC Motorsport. Just about close enough, maybe not quite close enough. I don't know, right on the cusp. Can I use a tow? Certainly these three cars, they can do that. Car number 15 there, that's Danny Henry leading the AM class, and now he doesn't have the buffer of Fiona James because Andreas Greiling is tucked in behind.
Yes, I think Greiling now made it past Henry on this lap, so
oh, we did, yes.
Henry back to second place, but great to see Danny Henry there from DTO Motorsport doing, you know, right at the top of the class again. He had a couple of unfortunate mishaps in the last race or so, and no fault of his own at Spa. He was involved in an accident, so he's right at the thick of it now for the M class.
Yeah, what's happened in that grouping is that the driver with the blue flash up on the nose of his car number 20, Andreas Greiling, caught Fiona James, passed her, and in very short order then got past Danny Henry. So first and second in the AM class, running nose to tail. But the pace that Andreas Greiling has shown so far suggests he should be able to pull clear. Car number 28 is his, and he is, yeah, just edging clear of number 15, which is second in class, which is Danny Henry, and Fiona James hanging on for the crack at the back.
Yes, and in fact, Tim Docker, who is actually third in that class, currently leads the AM class. But yeah, as you said, the car that's in the lead now, Greiling and Kevin Rawshite, they've been really very fast and only 15 points behind in the championship. So they could well come out of this weekend at the front of the championship if Tim Docker has doesn't score very high.
Oh, the driver's getting quite close to that repaired bit of the curbing on the exit of turn 16. The race officials would be very keen if they stayed away from it to let it continue. It's drying and setting, but some good little scraps going on here. Harry Burgoyne now right back into the battle with Tom Holland, and Tom's not going to offer him the inside line down into turn 1, but doesn't want to go too tight to the apex because early on the way in, because then that compromises your exit. Tom Holland's sliding a little bit there, but he's basically saying if you're going to go around me, you've got to go around the outside. But Burgoyne's going, no, I want to have the inside. So he compromised his second turn. But unless he's going to make a kamikaze move down the inside into turn 3, no, that's semi-sensible. It's all right. Tom Holland's got it covered off turn 4, but he will run a little bit wide on the exit. And often it's about the pace you can get off the exit or past the apex of turn 4. But then the next corner, if you can't get alongside, or even if you are alongside, it bends to the left. You don't want to be on the outside.
No, you want a good exit out of turn 4 for sure. And also you need to be careful with your track limits. That's a hot spot there for track limits on the exit of turn 4 on the left. But if you notice, these cars, the sort of second, third, fourth position cars, are using their push-to-pass button quite a lot. And for those of you who haven't seen this race before, if you see the sort of daytime lights flashing, that means they're actually activating the push-to-pass button, of which they only have 300 seconds to use. So they have a sort of a digital bar on the dash that tells them how much is left. So if you use too much, when you give the car then to your second driver and he has none, yeah, you won't be very pleased about that.
No, you'll be buying supper and the drinks that evening. Just notice that Fiona James, car number 49, who's just behind Danny Henry and Andreas Greiling in that battle, under-investigated for a jump start. The one that looked at potentially had made the jump start was Josh Mason. Maybe he was absolutely on it at the front of the race scene. No warning about his car number 43. That's running in, where are we now? 4th place. Got fleetingly as high as 2nd place on the charge of the first corner, but not under consideration. But here we are, 9, Tom Holland, 68, Harry Burgoyne. Just 0.3 of a second between them, fighting over 5th and 6th, but gradually losing a little bit of ground on Josh Mason. In fact, not so long ago, they were pretty much within 3/4 of a second. Now they're 2.5 seconds down on 4th place Mason. So pressure off his tail, but certainly not any pressure off the tail of Tom Holland, because Harry Burgoyne is looking left, he's looking right, he's just trying to see where there might be half an opening, because as we saw last time at this very point here at turn 3, he's happy to go for half an opening. Tom Holland must be going, if you're coming past me, you need a whole car's width. So I think that's why he's dropping off a pace. But he's just trying to see where Burgoyne is putting that number 68 entry from SMC Motorsport. For the moment, he's got it covered, but one little slip and Burgoyne will be pouncing.
Yeah, they're pretty much identical pace there, and so is Josh Mason with Aspin as well. They're running very much the same pace, but bear in mind that Josh Mason and Sam Nesser, number 43 car, do not have any success penalty to add in their pit stop. So Josh needs to keep pushing hard to stay with the leaders, and then hopefully that difference in the penalty in the pits will give him that head start on for the second half of the race.
Right, so just going through the front runners, the one with the biggest time penalty coming up is Will Aspin's car in 2nd place overall. Just seen it there, car number 12. He's got Josh Mason all over the tail of his car. The car that will get that 7 seconds extra at the pit stop, car number 90, which is the car in 2nd place, Leo Carosili, he will have a 5-second extra pit stop before Sam Harrison can get going. And car number 68, that's Harry Burgoyne. He's the one we've seen at the back of this pack in 6th place overall. He too will have to spend extra time, but just 3 seconds. That could have a big factor in shuffling the order, but the most important thing is that Michael O'Brien does not have any success penalty from the last race, so he doesn't have any extra time in the pits before he hands over the race leading number 17 to his teammate Jaden Kelly. Big factor, and Burgoyne gets the move done at last. Onto the start-finish straight, up to 5th place he goes, down to 6th for Tom Holland. Tom Holland, will he fight back into turn 1? He's certainly close enough to take a look. Down they come. At this point, Burgoyne's thinking, well, where are you going? Inside, outside? I'll give you the outside. Ooh, bit of a twitch over the curbing there from the number 9 of Tom Holland. His team owner, Martin Blaum, will be waiting to take it over. Don't forget, this was the car that had the big twitch on the opening lap of the race, brilliantly held by Tom Holland. So yet Martin Plowman may get a part in this race to play.
Yeah, it was a key move there by Burgoyne to get through Holland now, because Burgoyne really is the one that in 5th position, he's kind of lost touch with the leading pack. And again, he will get 3 seconds as well in the pit lane, so he really does need to move on.
Yeah, so many things you just need to consider. That's in Burgoyne's head. Right, if you're moving back to what's happening in behind, Eric Behrens, car number 88, is leading the Pro-Am class, but not by much. He's got Ryan James all over his tail. We heard from Ryan's teammate, Ollie Webb, on the grid, sort of suggesting there might be rain, but look at the amount of sun on these cars. I think we should see the remaining half hour of this race through without the rain coming. What am I saying? It's the Nürburgring, but it does look really pretty good at the moment.
Absolutely, it looks fantastic. It's like we're in Rio de Janeiro right now, but this is a fascinating battle actually now, because the fact that Ryan James doing a fantastic job in the Greystone GT number 22, keeping up with Eric. Eric has a lot of pace, and over the last few races he's demonstrated a lot of speed, but Ryan James is very much in touch with him. So when it comes to the pit stops, obviously Ollie will be against Lucas Sundal, and I mean Ollie is very fast, but Lucas was very fast at Spa, so it'll be a fascinating end of the race for the Pro-Am battle.
Yeah, it really would. And what I love in the course of a championship is when you see some teams making up ground. They've just got their drivers in the right place. They managed to get the car set up. Now, this is a replay. This is how to hook gravel, not only onto the track, but into the face of the drivers behind. And certainly for driver number 9, Tom Holland, insulting enough to be overtaken by Harry Burgoyne, because, of course, you're defending your position. But that is insult to injury.
Yes, but thank God he's got a windscreen there, and that he would have been sandblasted there with all those stones coming at him. But going back to the battle of the Pro-Am, one thing that we need to obviously mention that's very key to that battle is that the number 88 of Eric Behrens has 10 seconds to be added to his pit stop, whereas Ryan James only has 5. So the Ryan James, Ollie Webb crew has a 5-second advantage in the pit stop, and that could be crucial for their result today.
Well, particularly the fact that Ryan is sitting, under a second, 3/4 of a second off the tail of the Alpha B, the Alfa Racing McLaren just up the road ahead of him, but so he knows, stay close, stay within a second, even 2 seconds, and you ought to come out of your pit stop ahead. And it's a factor all the drivers have to consider. Just looking, fastest lap of the race thus far, 1 minute 59.5 seconds. Guess who? Michael O'Brien. And he is our race leader for good reason. He's 6 seconds clear of Leo Caravasili. And as the pit window is now open, we have our first pit visitor.
Yes, and Danny Henry comes in, and he's not coming out because he does it all on his own. He likes driving all of the races without anybody sitting in his seat. So he's going to sit there, try and cool down a little bit, and out he goes again. So obviously the pit window open now, and it's between 20 and 30 minutes for the Pro class and the M class. But for the Pro M crews, it will be between 30 and 40 minutes. So a slight difference there between the Pro and the M class, which is between 20 and 30 minutes, and again the Pro M class between 30 and 40.
Okay, pit's becoming a busy place to be. The second time of asking, a trio of cars coming in, and led in by the car from second place, Leo Caravasili, and his car will have an extra 5 seconds at a standstill. Chasing in behind is Will Aspin, and that's car number 12. And for Will, of course, as mentioned, they have 7 seconds extra at pit stop. Car 43, no extra seconds for them, so this could be advantageous. 43 brought in by Josh Mason, and so Sam Nesser be waiting to take that one over. They're lying second in the championship. This could be a chance for them to gain a bit of ground on those around them. Certainly you want all the points you can, but if it leads to a slower pit stop, your next race is always going to be a real struggle.
Pit stops are absolutely crucial to the result of the race, and I love this because it really brings the team element into the race. And you know, it's so important. There's so much that can go wrong. The timing of bringing the cars in and setting them out, speeding through the pit lane. You know, the driver change, maybe something goes astray there. So again, bringing that sort of element of GT team effort into the equation. So that's great to see that.
It is, and it's also something a lot of these drivers will need to learn. Who knows what championships they'll do in the future, but it's almost likely to be in some form of sports car or GT racing, so it is a big factor, and it's a real example of the many skills you need to pay attention to when you're developing as a racing driver.
Yeah.
They're all in there to do better than they did before. That's the whole point.
100%, Bruce. It's so, and with the McLaren, they have the Track Academy events at every round. These guys go through seminars and classes where they learn a little bit about different aspects of being a professional GT driver. So they go through data analysis. They learn about tire management, and we had, I think earlier this week, the physio from Garage 59, the works team, come and talk to them about the health and fitness and how they should prepare. So it's really important, and that they get this sort of training, if you will, and within the McLaren customer program.
Yeah, absolutely up to them if they decide to follow the health diet, but it's nice to know what's recommended, and at least you can go, I'll do that some of the time. But yeah, no, of course, and certainly all the skills you learn across the board, so vital. Right, car number 17 leading the race from the outset, continuing to race around. Its pit stop will come at some point, but Michael O'Brien staying out as long as he possibly can before handing over to Jaden Kelly. But they have had, well, they started the season just in fantastic, victorious form for Greystone GT, and no real reason to wonder that, suggest they have any concerns about not continuing in the winning form, because they don't have success penalty time to serve. So a big foot up for them.
No, unfortunately, thanks to a very bad result at Spa in the previous round, where they were really taken out of the race effectively in corner turn 1 at Spa. So obviously they didn't score any points whatsoever. So they had not a very good time there, but their pace is absolutely undeniable. And of course, Michael O'Brien on pole position today by a good half a second. So they are both a class act, and but it's great to see that cars like the one we just saw on screen, number 43 of Sam Nesser and Josh Mason, winning at Spa as well, and bringing the fight towards them, in the championship.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it's another thing that drivers need to be taught is, there's nothing like getting yourself into a championship battle and seeing how you deal with the pressure, you might be driving in brilliant form, but it's about not making mistakes. It's about keeping a clear head, understanding the tactics the team is asking for you, suggesting to the team what tactics you think might help you. Right, now after this flurry of pit stops, we've had a little bit of change in the order, and of course with those longer pit stops for some of the candidates, including Leo Caravasili, his car is back out there, but Sam Harrison now on board, so he suddenly came out in and among those SMC Motorsport rivals. In fact, he's still among them. He's in the middle. He's the meat in the sandwich. Just ahead of Zach Meakin, car number 68, which is the one started by Harry Burgoyne. Yep, 68 is just behind him, but the order slightly shuffled there. Car 12 now in the hands of Alejandro Geppert, of course, isn't it? Yes. That was Will Aspin in the opening point in the race. Oh, little switch and a move across the track. Car number 69 is Klaus Halsig sharing with Brad Ellis. And suddenly looked as though he might, but he's decided quite clearly to let them through. He's seen the fags, got the message from his race engineer. This is the battle for second, third and fourth, effectively, or thereabouts. Do not obstruct it.
Yes, Klaus obviously not pitted yet, whereas the number 12 car has changed hands now to Geppert now on the wheel.
Getting suddenly very, very busy. Number 90, pushing, shoving, trying to find a way. Sam Harrison, and he's got more speed than both the SMC Motorsport cars at the moment, but is a little bit boxed up. He's picked off one, he's trying to do the other. The other is car number 12, and that is with Alejandro Geppert at the wheel. Oh, just missing the brand new bit of curbing. They ran wide. I thought they'd be getting an extra warning. Right, in terms of warning, all we have, apart from track excess warnings, is the fact that car 49, Fiona James's car, will be investigated for possible over-enthusiastic start. We'll call it that, shall we?
Yes, but we just saw there car 90, which is now Sam Harrison at the wheel, going very, really looking very racy in his opening lap there against the number 12, and he needs to watch out because that car is already on a track limit warning.
I know, so many messages need to go through and sometimes repeat and repeat again to the drivers. Yeah, if you get any more, you get 2 more. How many more? 2 more. Have to know how many times they can exceed it. They don't want to exceed track limits. Now, suddenly we've got car 90 moving slowly. Has Sam Harrison got a puncture? Looks though he has from that front-on shot. He was in the middle of those 2 SMC Motorsport cars, and suddenly he is not. He's behind Alejandro Geppert, but ahead of Zach Meakin. I thought I saw a left rear puncture, but it's quite hard in the lowering light to pick that up. He certainly was going slowly. Has he picked up the pace?
He seems to be on the pace now, but yeah, it was strange just coming out of turn 4 there. It didn't look like he was quite on the pace. So we'll keep an eye on the time and see what his lap time is this time around when he crosses the start-finish line. And that's the Michael O'Brien, Jaden Kelly in the pits. Jaden Kelly now at the wheel. They really should be in a very strong position.
You would certainly think so. Driven very, very well indeed by Michael O'Brien. He was sort of under pressure at the start of the race, but he just controlled it very, very nicely indeed. And don't forget that they do not have success penalty, no extra time added to their pit stop. Right, yeah. Not everybody is pitted. In fact, pretty much just over half of the 15-car field have made their pit stops, but still quite a few of the big players to come in, and it's largely the ones who just around the tail of the top 10. And they've been promoted enormously. Eric Behrens and Ryan James in that battle for Pro-Am honours have vaulted up to 2nd and 3rd positions, with Fiona James staying out on the track, and she is 3rd in class, 4th overall.
Yes, that Behrens and Ryan James battle now will become the Lucas Sundau and Ollie Webb fight, and that is really one to look forward to. And of course, again, Behrens, the Behrens car number 88 having to serve 5 seconds longer in the pits. So obviously the Greystone GT number 22 has a bit of an advantage there in way of 5 seconds. But everything can happen in a pit stop, and a slight misjudgment by the driver or a team call, and you can lose that advantage very quickly.
Yeah, exactly so. Klaus Halsig in the orange entry, just reporting to the pit lane. A few others following him in, but of the front runners, still just waiting for this. the sight of Eric Burns and Ryan James coming in, but up front we're still waiting as those last few cars. Alpha B coming in there. Yep, so the people we expected are coming in. Then I think pretty much everyone will have made their mandatory pit stop in this race.
Brad Ellis now on board of the number 69 car, and Klaus Hausig there without any problems coming in, and hopefully it's a quick change. I always enjoy watching Brad Ellis. He's an exciting driver to watch. He really it gives it absolutely 100%, and no doubt we'll see that car move up the grid.
Yeah, some races you just really like it when you know which driver's starting, which driver isn't. You sort of already build a bit of a narrative, a bit of a story in your mind. Sometimes it plays out, sometimes not, but certainly when you've got a quick driver in the second half of the race, you can't wait for them to get on board and start getting on with overtaking. Number 80 from another Greystone car sitting there, that's Ron Trenker's car. Should be in the hands now of John Lancaster, one would presume. They've been sharing for quite a while for Greystone GT in the Pro-Am class. So the first sequence of corners, car 17 into the pits, out of the pits, and looking to resume in the lead of the race. Jaden Kelly on board, needs to pick off this bright orange Artura right in front of them, but Jaden Kelly's got the speed, got the class, doesn't have to take risks when overtaking.
No, so the 17 car there looking in a very strong position. You can see Sam Nesser now in the number 43 car. They obviously jumped up the order there by virtue of not having a success penalty in the pits. So yeah, this could be good strong points there for car 43. Again, the top 4 cars on the leaderboard now, all obviously fighting for the championship. And but you've got to say that the Greystone GT number 17 have done a perfect race up until now, and but there's still a fair bit of race to go, about 17 minutes left.
But you know, in the first part of the race, Michael O'Brien just didn't put a wheel wrong. He wasn't taking any risk, but he was still able to get the advantage. And then he had the double advantage, no pit stop time penalty for him. So thereafter, it's about keeping neat and tidy. And you know, once everyone has served their pit stop, he will be back into the lead of the race, or Jaden Kelly will be on board his car. One car has yet to visit the pits, which is Rafael Munchares. Remember, we had him coming slowly in the guest car number 27 from SMC Motorsport. But he seemed to pick up the pace after that, so I don't know what the problem was.
Yes, and there was damage in the car, of course. So the next car, or the nearest car to him on the grid, was that of Tim Docker. So I wonder if there was, yeah, some kind of contact there. Just brushing on Michael O'Brien, and you know, we've seen so many times. You know, the guy is such a pro. He's such a really perfectionist, and does such a great job. You know, and time and time again he really delivers. So really impressed with his performances.
Yeah, I mean, he's not just got speed in the car. He's obviously been taught well by his father, Mike O'Brien, who was one of the sort of arch sort of sponsorship hunters in the day, so he understood things. But here is Rafael Munchares' car, hasn't had a pit stop yet, and it's coming round very slowly indeed, and looks though there is further damage, about to get further damage there. The car that Harry Burgoyne started in, handed over to Zach Meakin, has got Sam Harrison coming back. And remember, we thought Sam's had a bit of a problem. Whatever it was, it seems to have solved itself, because he's right back in the mix, and he's now got to see if he can regain some of the ground. He had the extra 5 seconds in the pit stop. That's not why he was slow when he came back out, but certainly whatever glitch there was seems to have sorted itself. He was before the problem between these 2 cars in front of him, the SMC Motorsport cars. But now he's in behind. He's hunting down Zach Meakin, but Alejandro Geppert is not that far up the road ahead of them. So again, that's a great performance from Sam Harrison.
Absolutely. Sam is obviously again 100% on it all the time. Very quick driver, and if you could look at it between third to 6th place, they're very close to each other, or 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There's only a second and a bit. Yeah, Harrison only half a second behind Meakin, obviously there. So these guys have you know, a real race in their hands. The question now is how much tires are left and how much push-to-pass button do they have to the end of the race. So this is where, you know, how much usage, if you will, you know, the first driver got out of these cars. So that's going to play a significant part in the second half of the race.
Right, let's talk for a little bit, Tommy, about Pro-Am. Before the pit stops, it was the 88 car leading the race, but with an extra 5 seconds in their pit stop. That's allowed the number 22 car that was, what, half a second down before the pit stops to get into the lead of the race. So Ollie Webb in front in class by 5.5 seconds, so he's not rocketing clear, but certainly we're going to see how this one unfolds.
Yes, I mean, as predicted, with that 5-second buffer, if you will, the number 22 car jumped him in the pit stops, and Ollie Webb is a very, very experienced pair of hands, and he will, that 5-second gap, whatever that is, 5.5, is a nice little gap to have, but he cannot relax. Lucas Sundal has a lot of pace, and he showed us that at Spa.
Yeah, he showed us, and he's again closing in now. He's under 5 seconds down. Oh, now this is getting very busy, and that is Sam Harrison making a move, and a move that sticks. Zach Meakin didn't have an answer there. He wasn't waiting for a second invitation. Turn 2, up the inside, made it stick. One of the AM class cars keeping out of the way very nicely indeed there. Right, now can Sam Harrison, he had that problem, lost a bit of ground. He was between the two orange and blue cars, fell back behind them, caught back up again, passed one of them. That's Zach Meakin. Next target, Alejandro Geppert. And if he can pass him, I mean, Alejandro has been super fast in this championship for a while now. So this is maybe the changing of the guard. Is Sam Harrison a very young driver?
He looked young to me.
Oh, well, there you go.
Most do. But but no, he's a very young guy, but a lot of pace, very, very good speed. But just coming out of turn 4 there, he had all 4 wheels over that white line. He's already hanging on a track limit warning. So Sam really needs to rein it in terms of track limits, or all of that work that he's putting in will be, for no reason, because he'll get a penalty.
Yeah, if you're going to see track limits, there needs to be a reason for it. If you think it's worth it, take one of your warnings and go for it if you can make it work for you. Right now we're looking at, this is the battle again between Danny Henry, and this time it's not, he's being pushed by Rorschach, who's taken over from Andreas Griding, so really well placed in the championship. They were second in that, and Tim Docker's run, he's further back, but he'll still accrue useful points. That's the whole point of it. If you're sitting in front on the point battle, there aren't too many cars in the class. It is damage limitation.
No, absolutely.
We'll see how it goes.
It is, yeah. And to be fair, the Kevin Rorschach and Andrew Grayling pairing have been very, very quick in that class. But great to see Danny Henry there, putting a good fight, leading the class where he belongs, really. He's a true McLaren driver. He's been with the pure McLaren program, Danny Henry, and I risk to say that he's done every race since the beginning of this series in 2023. Is a real, McLaren true and true.
Interesting. Do you get to spend much time with them at the track? You've got to spread your knowledge quite.
I wouldn't say much, but obviously I do walk around from camp to camp to talk to them, see how they're feeling, what particular issues they have at the track with the cars. I mean, you have to remember these cars are still very new. They're still developing as we go along, but they've been really great to drive, and the feedback from the drivers is that they love it. They absolutely love the car.
Yeah, well, you certainly see, yes, it's the 3rd season, but you see a lot of brand loyalty for sure, and they've clearly, it has given them something to move beyond that pure program to, show on a global basis. Now the North American series going really great guns as well, so it's certainly good news in the McLaren camp. Right, what's happening at the front of the field? Jaden Kelly, building on the work of Michael O'Brien, is now, you might say 10 seconds clear. I'd say 9.999 seconds clear, to be specific, ahead of Sam Nesser, car number 43, pushing on, and that's one of the great, they're both Greystone GT cars, so they'll be happy in that camp, and they've got Ollie Webb in another Greystone GT car leading in his particular class in Pro-Am, so it's looking good for them. Obviously got quite a useful chassis set up for this event. Again, the circuit, you need a bit of compromise. You like a bit of straight line speed, but if you haven't got a car that wants to feel happy through the sweeping corners, of which we have quite a few, something has to give. It's about compromise. Motor racing is always about a compromise.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. And this is where teams like SMC, Greystone GT, they've been in the championship since the word go. They have a lot of data, a lot of information, working closely with Pirelli tires, and they know exactly what makes these cars work now. Yeah, very hard racing there between the car 12 and 90. Sam Harrison still fighting for that position.
I would just be intrigued to find out why he suddenly looked slow not long after he started his stint, because he fell back a position, he's caught that up, he's passed, and now he's all over the tail of the 3rd place Alejandro Geppert, number 12, SMC Motorsports entry, as it continues to lap in front of him. This is very much the battle for 3rd place. if Sam Harrison can get through, he's not going to have a lot of time to make up the 4 and a bit seconds he needs to get on the tail of Sam Nesser in second place. So realistically, he's looking at 3rd place in this race at best. Now, overtaking manoeuvres almost coming off there, 15 and 28, continuing in that order. Danny Henry, Kevin Rawshite. I think there's a bit more pace in Rawshite's car. He didn't do the first half of the race. His teammate Andreas Greiling did, but he's looking comfortable right now. Who's that behind them?
That's Maurice Henry and Fiona James's teammate, and he's got a lot of pace, Maurice. Not had a lot of time in the car compared to the other drivers, so he's going to absolutely join this fight. But Danny Henry there under a lot of pressure there into the last turn. He just manages to keep that position for one more lap. But Danny Henry, remember, he's done the first stint and now he's on the second stint. He will be very hot inside that car right now.
Yeah, and Maurice Henry tucked in behind, just picked off one of those as their order chops and changes, but was 6 seconds quicker. This is the car with the yellow flash on it, braking super late. At that point, Danny Henry has to back off a little bit, which gives half a thought for Kevin Rawshite that he might go past. But Maurice Henry, so much quicker. He's running in a different class. He should pull clear, but certainly, you know, Fiona James will be enjoying that as she watches on from the sideline. That was a really good move, because when you've got 2 guys up in front of you, they may be a bit slower than you, which these 2 are, but they're having their own battle. And that's where you go, I think I can go around. Oh, no, I can't go around the outside. But anyhow, a bit of caution, but he also was very, very positive there, Maurice. Good move.
And good to see that Danny Henry wasn't trying to fight Maurice there, so because obviously it wasn't his battle, as you say. But here is Sam Harrison now again, passing Geppert. It won't be the last of it. They are almost identical on lap time, so these guys have pretty much equal pace at the moment.
I think you have to say, though, that Sam Harrison has gained, lost a position, then he's gained 2. Both of the SMC Motorsport cars going behind him. He won't have time, surely, 7.5 minutes remain on the clock, to get any higher than 3rd place overall. Sam Nesser, surely a nut too hard to crack. Let's see, last time around, the cars in 2nd and 3rd, well, Harrison was that. They're all lapping very, very similar pace. A lot of gravel on the track. And that came very close to sorting out our battle. It really is a battle as Kevin Rawshite makes the move, goes past Danny Henry into the lead. He goes in his class, in the AMP class. So plenty to battle for and doing a really nice job. A little feint to one side, then dive to the other. Positive racing.
Great to see again that battle between 3rd and 4th place with Harrison and Geppert. Every point counts, literally. They are so close in the championship table that they are fighting for every point. So we haven't seen the last of those changing positions there between Geppert and Harrison.
Well, for our race leaders, also our overall championship leaders, they came here with a 1-point advantage over Sam Nesser and Josh Mason. They will be stretching that because those Sam Nessers, the next car down behind them, they're nearly 9 seconds behind. So the 15 points for victory will stretch the advantage of Jaden Kelly and Michael O'Brien, providing they're still in front when the checkered flag comes out in just over 6 minutes' time. But no reason to think it won't. They've not got anybody on their tail, and Jaden Kelly can pick his line, just make sure he doesn't exceed track limits, because that would just be awful. Leading the race, no notable pressure, no car near you to transgress. Stay between the white lines, all will be fine. It might not be your fastest lap you're doing, but it's the one that's going to get the winner's trophy into your hands at the end of this race.
And that is absolutely great advice, Bruce, and I think he might be listening to you, because look at his lap time. He's actually tailed off a good sort of half a second, 3/4 of a second, so he understands that there's nothing to risk there. You know, just keep it sensible, as you say, stay within the white lines. No need for having a problem with track limits or anything else. So it's bring it to the end.
Right, 3rd place in the championship coming into this race, Alejandro Geppert, and there he is. He's fallen behind Sam Harrison. On Motorsport, he raced very cleanly, but Harrison had a bit more pace, has moved past, but you know, the clock continues to count down, just over 5 minutes. And although Harrison is now dropping Geppert, Sam Nesser is not coming a great deal closer to the nose of his car. So it does look as though the finishing order will be Jaden Kelly from Sam Nesser. From this driver, car number 90, Sam Harrison. However, let's get to the end. And here's someone trying to do just that in the neatest way possible. Jaden Kelly, you're quite right, Tommy. You picked up the fact that his lap pace is just coming back a little bit. There he is leading the race, car number 17, 8.4 seconds clear. The car behind is not someone he's fighting with. That's one from Greystone GT running in one of the other classes, but our race leader has nobody near him. 8.4 seconds clear at the start of the lap. He might lose a little bit of ground. It really matters not. He could lose a second a lap from now on. He'll still be absolutely fine. 4.5 minutes remain, and stroking it clear, Jaden Kelly.
You know, we were touching earlier about the pace of Lukas Sundal, and looking at his best lap time there, he is actually almost as fast as Jaden Kelly in terms of best lap. Jaden Kelly's done a 59.5, Lukas Sundal on a 59.5 as well. So, you know, a fraction slower, you know, hundreds, but it just proves how much pace Lukas Sundal has in that Eric Berens car.
Yeah, well, you picked it out before the race even started, and he's really just proved your point. So as much as Alejandro Geppert tries to hang on to the tail of third place, number 90, Sam Harrison is just pulling clear. However, he's 3.6 seconds down on Sam Nesser, so with 3.5 minutes remaining in the 3 minutes 40. That's surely second position, safe in the hands of Sam Nesser, the number 43 entry. And a lot of that went down to the brilliant start from his teammate at the off. Josh Mason did such a positive blast off the grid. Fleetingly went from 5th to 2nd, then fell down the order a bit, but he bought himself a bit of time and spaced out the group at the front.
Yes, I think knowing Josh Mason, he'll be maybe slightly disappointed that he didn't have maybe a little bit more pace in the race to fight for the actual front 2 places, but did a solid job, as you say. Great start. You know, they're in the podium position, and again, you know, in second position, in fact. And Nesser is, you know, we haven't seen much of Sam Nesser on screen, but is another one of those really young drivers. I don't even think he's 18 yet. I think he's 17, or maybe just 18. But he drives with such a mature head, and they've been very consistent. You know, 2 very young guys driving very well. But that can also be said about Harrison and in the 90 car as well. Harrison and Leonidas, very, very consistent performance again from that pairing.
Just had a brief sight of the battle for 7th and 8th position overall, but more to the point, the Pro-Am honours. And Ollie Webb just looking comfortable there ahead, 2.5 seconds clear of Sundal, so I think that's probably under control. What isn't necessarily under control is I'm just trying to see who is closest. The closest margin between 2 cars is Sam Harrison in 3rd and Alejandro Geppert in 4th, but that is going out each lap. Car number 28 working its way around. That's Kevin Rorsch right there. He is leading the AM class. He made the move over Danny Henry. He's put nearly 6 seconds on him, so surely this too is going to be a class-winning drive from him. The car with the blue flash up over the bonnet, the roof and the tail of the car. There it is. Car number 28 leading the AM class really comfortably now.
Yes, good job there. But Danny Henry really did put up a very good fight there. He should be very proud of that. He's on the podium, 2nd position, so a great effort by the number 15 car. Remember, he does that race solo on his own. He'll be very tired come the end of the race. He's done a great job. Yeah.
No, most certainly will be there. So our race leader with 1.5 minutes on the clock, Jaden Kelly, watching from the team garage, or possibly the pit wall will be his teammate Michael O'Brien. They started on pole position, have made it look easy. Got a car just up ahead of him, so he just has to make sure there's no chance of a risk. Doesn't want anybody to just bend a front splitter on his car or push him off into the gravel, so he can afford to back it off. The lead will come down, 8.5 seconds now, but this is just a smooth drive.
And Jaden Kelly, that's showing that he still has a bit of push-to-pass button left there. You can see his daytime running lights flashing there. So they haven't quite used all of it yet, which is pretty impressive.
But slight distraction having a car in front of him. He absolutely does not need to overtake it. In fact, 2 cars up in front of him. He can drop his pace by 2-3 seconds of that, but sometimes if you do that, the attention goes a little bit. Normally better to stay right on it, and that's, you know, just that moment where you're going in a corner more slowly, but you drift a little wide. You just haven't really hit your turning point, and that's where you can go out over the curbing, and just missing the repair to the curbing there at the exit of turn 16. But when he comes across the start-finish line, he'll have time for 1 further lap. We've got 15 seconds on the clock. Going down across the start-finish line, only just. If he'd backed it off, the checkered flag would be there. Won't be there yet. It'll be shown to him next time around. But Jaden Kelly, 7.3 seconds clear of Sam Nesser. Yet the gap's coming down. It's under control. Look, it's half the length of start-finish straight.
Yes, Jaden's doing a great job there. He knows the gap behind, obviously, the team in contact with them. And yeah, Jaden just really managing that pace very well. You know, if it was the Jaden of last year, And remember, you know, Jaden Kelly is only 18 years old. He's driving a 600+ horsepower machine and doing a fantastic job. And some of his racing last year, there was some movements that showed his inexperience, if you will. But now he's got such maturity really for his age, and he's in good hands there with himself, and no danger of him making any mistakes right now.
No, and he's tucked in behind car number 80, which is John Lancaster, sharing with Ron Trenker, and that's just behind Danny Henry. Down the bottom hill they go, but that's turn 8, so you're halfway round the lap, but the car tucked in behind is the race leading car. It would like to get past them. They're a bit of a distraction for him, but at the moment, as they change places ahead of him, he's best just to hang out of the battle, because you see, run wide and you get all that gravel that could just have your car looping around. That's the uphill Schumacher S, where that got sort of scooped onto the circuit probably on the first couple of laps. But the drivers have seen it now, they're aware of it, but little moment of lack of concentration, drift onto it, and suddenly you look like the biggest fool in the place.
Yeah, but Jaden there, showing his nose in Dennis mirrors, but not making any silly attempts. And there, he's ready to not risk anything, driving very carefully, how he should really. Last lap.
Exactly so really not very much more of the last lap. This turn, turns 14, 15 and 16 as they're known collectively, or the final chicane, second chicane, final chicane, call it what you will. This, however, is the final corner, and coming around through that at the end of the first of the 2 races here for the McLaren Trophy at the Nürburgring. Second one's on Sunday, that's tomorrow, goes to the number 17 lineup of Michael O'Brien from pole position, Jaden Kelly in second, in the second stint in that car, and then in the end just under 4 seconds clear. That was how much Jaden backed off with that traffic in front of him. Comes home Sam Nesser. Sam Harrison did come home in 3rd place, and he kept closing it. He was only 3.3 seconds down in battle for 2nd place. Now car number 22 coming through in its own, Ollie Webb, Lucas Sundal, I think they're still in that order. Yep, Ollie Webb with the red and gold car comes out over the curbing. You have a concern. No, Lucas Sundal has come across the line just behind him. I thought, as you pointed to the screen there, Tommy, something was disastrous and I'd failed to notice it. But I
was just, to be honest, looking at Sundal's pace. Has been so strong throughout the race that, and we mentioned that Ollie Webb had a 2.5-second gap, which isn't a lot around here. You need to kind of stay on it, but it just shows how competitive that Pro-Am class is, between those 2 cars there. So great race in that class. Great to watch that.
Yeah, it certainly was. And eventually Kevin Rorschach hasn't crossed the finish line yet, but when he does do, here he is now, right? That will be victory in the AM class for him. So for he and Andreas Grayling, that will help them close on Tim Docker, who will have finished in 14th and final position. But all you can do is race what's around you, and for the number 28 crew of Andreas Grayling, who kicked off, and Kevin Rorschach, who brought it home. Job well done. And Rorschach finishing in 11th position overall, so not too bad. But really the day belonged to the number 17 crew of Michael O'Brien for Greystone GT and his young Australian teammate Caden Jelly, or Jaden Kelly even, got his name back to front. Another excellent job from them. So they started the season in style, they seem to be back to that winning form. And again, in a multi-class race, anybody who takes a class victory will be happy. And car number 28, there it is, Kevin Rorschach being waved just on the exit of turn 1 before we get to turn 2, back into the paddock. And I tell you what, it's going to super fast meeting. We had a slight delay of about 40+ minutes with the damage to the curbing on the exit of turn 16. So it means the next race, the last race of the day, is coming up pretty much right now. But the cars get round to the back of the paddock there, behind the pit building, and there is the winning car. Michael O'Brien is the name on the flag, as is Jaden Kelly. And they're by the number 1 board. So where do they finish? They finish first. They worked hard, but it was all about getting that clean start from pole position, getting nobody able to attack you. Just got that margin. That's what Michael O'Brien's job was. Build the margin. No one's close enough. And then they dictated. The gap came down at the end, but that was Jaden being sensible, not taking any risk. It would have been tempting to pass those 2 AM class cars, but there was no point. We had that buffer that was just around 8-9 seconds. That was enough.
That's it. And what a difference there from last year to this year. Now, last year perhaps Jaden would have been a little bit sort of in a rush to get through and maybe take a little bit more risk, but he's had now a few races experience, and they did a fantastic job, really well executed, both drivers and team. So great result for them, for Greystone GT, fantastic.
Yeah, no, exactly. So everybody involved, particularly those like Danny Henry who did the race solo, you know, they have the decency to look warm. It's a warm cockpit there, but they worked hard. It's a solid workout. If you do the 50 minutes, you do get the slight breather when you come in for the pit stop, but quite a lot of the drivers, it's the whole challenge. Maybe they're not good at sharing.
Yeah, it is a real challenge. I mean, it's warm now. The sun's come out. And as you mentioned earlier, you know, this track is full of sort of corners that link one to another. So you are forever working, and very little strays to rest, if you will. So yeah, it's you know, 600 horsepower machines. They're not easy to drive.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's hear the thoughts of our race-winning driver. One of them, Jaden Kelly.
Jaden, brilliantly done there. Michael took it very nicely off the line, didn't he? Set up a lovely car for you, but you took it home.
Yeah, of course. Michael definitely had the harder job of starting off today and competing against all the other pro category guys, and it looked like a pretty close race at times, but Michael was able to build that gap, and the team's given us a great race car, and we've just been able to consistently just lap, and bring it home finally, so great result.
What's it like driving a McLaren around Nürburgring?
It is something special, you know. They've got the McLaren that won its class in the 24-hour Nürburgring sat here, so it definitely feels like a special event for us and McLaren, and to get the privilege to drive these cars around here is just amazing.
Great job, well deserved.
Thank you very much. Alex down with Jaden Kelly, and of course Jaden came here with a points lead. No, a point lead. It was only 1 point clear, really tight battle. 4 points covering the top 3 crews in the top class. But by winning today, they will have eked out a little bit more of a margin, or a margin really. 1 point has become 4. So Michael O'Brien, Jaden Kelly, victory by 7.4 seconds in the end. Sam Neser and Josh Mason taking second place, and then Leo Caravasili and Sam Harrison, with that great charge from Sam in the second part of the race, getting him up into third place ahead of Alejandro Geppert, who was sharing with Will Aspin. But let's pop back down to the paddock and hear from Ollie Webb. Yet another class win for him.
Ollie, that was a very, very nice race. You predicted rain, it didn't happen. How was it out there?
It was really good. I think Ryan drove probably one of his best races. Eric is a fierce competitor at the moment in that car, obviously chasing us down for the championship, and his pace has been unbelievable. So for Ryan to be catching him up in pit, right on his tail, really good aggressive pit lane entry, and we had that 5 seconds in hand. I tried to save a bit of my push to pass, and they came on the radio and said he's only 2 seconds behind you now. So then I started using it and crossed the line using my last 2 seconds. So it wasn't easy. It's almost harder in those situations, even though it's a bit more boring to watch because you've got the pressure from behind that whole time. But that's really helped our championship.
Yeah, it most definitely has. It's going to be a strong end. Well done, Ollie.
So that was a victory in the Pro-Am class there for Ollie Webb. But yeah, it's good to have a pair of cars that know they're going to have a battle all race long, and they certainly did there. But it ebbs and it flows. But when you've got a pair of hands like Ollie Webb getting on board with the possibility in his mind of a bit of rain. But let's take a look at the start. Michael O'Brien from pole position, right-hand side of your screen, cutting across. But the real charge was Josh Mason up the middle into second place, car number 43. And down to the first corner, he thought, oh, I'm slightly on the outside. Leo Caravasili going, I'm on the inside, I'm in the white car number 90. No, hold on a second, I'm on the outside when you get to the second corner. But he kept his foot in there, and certainly those in behind were going, okay. But Caravasili got back into second place, and then Josh Mason getting pushed a little bit wide, and certainly a big attack there from Will Aspin. And then the save of the day, car number 9 going very sideways indeed, and that was Tom Holland on the opening lap of the race. But that car was very much in the mix. But already you can see that our race leader Michael O'Brien is going, I thank you, and I'm pulling clear. Some fantastic battling all the way down the field, and particularly Danny Henry always seemed to have someone to play with in the number 15, and for most of the race it was car 28. It was Andreas Greiling to start with, then Kevin Rorschach in the second part of the race, and then it was all about handling those pit stops. And for those that had success penalty, meaning they came in the top 3 in their class in the previous race, they had spent extra time in the pits. And after the pit stops, really the story was Sam Harrison, number 90, coming back through the field, and he picked off Alejandro Geppert as well, and that is how it went through to the finish. But victory, the checkered flag, wave for Jaden Kelly, building on the work of Michael O'Brien. Nice job. And let's go back down and hear from Kevin Rorschach, who took victory in the AM class.
Class win. You made it look easy, but I'm assuming it wasn't.
Yeah, it was a good fight with Danny. I caught up to him, but I didn't want to take too much risk. But then it was a good fight for a few laps, some screen time for us. But then it was a good move without too much risk. But it was a good fight. I enjoyed it a lot. It's my home track, so it feels good to have a win here.
Ah, very nicely done. Well done, Kevin.
Thank you.
So there we go. Kevin Rawshite had been showing with Andrea Skryling. They had to work hard for that, but almost every time we saw the car, it was in a battle, but did the job very nicely indeed to win the AM class. They've got to do it all again tomorrow, Tommy, and looking forward to it. There was plenty to enjoy today.
Absolutely. Looking forward to tomorrow. Potentially a different weather, I've been told. But whatever comes, it's great to see all classes doing great battle out there.
Yeah, some cracking shots there. This is a race-winning car. The light low in the driver's face. In fact, the sun glinting off the visor there of Jaden Kelly's helmet, and he was sharing with Michael O'Brien, and he brought it through to victory. First of 2 races for the McLaren Trophy Europe here at the Nürburgring, but they had this one under control. 7.4 seconds at the clear at the end of the race, and victory was theirs. They worked hard for it, but it was a clean, pure performance. Can they do it tomorrow? Will the sun shine tomorrow? We'll let you know. But right now, we'll look at the points advantage. It was just 1 point for O'Brien and Kelly ahead of their chasing pack of Nesser and Mason, but today it's gone out to 4 points, and that's been a help most certainly for them. And it's all about scoring as many times as you can. 15 points for a win, so it does help edge you further clear. And Geppert and Aspin somewhat further back down now after that result, but that's the pro class. But it's still, they've fallen back to 3rd place overall, but it was very close. The top 3 crews covered by 4 points, but now they're covered by a few more. But certainly our leaders coming into this race, Jaden Kelly and Michael O'Brien, have just gained 3 points on their closest chaser. That's the point you need to know. We've got the second race here, and then we've got further races. Where else later this season? We've got Paul Ricard coming up as well.
Paul Ricard, the last one, yes.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
Well, in the Pro-Am class, it was a clear advantage, and another victory for Ollie Webb and Ryan James has edged them further clear of Eric Burns. But certainly the Alfab team has shown they've got the pace, and they could yet turn it the other way around. But you just start to sense that James and Webb are just edging clear. That's the plan. Plans don't always come to be. They probably plan for a sunny race tomorrow. Who knows if we'll get one here on Sunday at the Nürburgring. But it was a good start. We started the day in the grey. We've ended in the sunshine. Still further on-track action. Very, very busy at the Nürburgring. But do make sure you come and join us when we go racing again tomorrow. The blue sky will take it today. The good racing will certainly take that again. Let's take a look at the AM class. And again, that was quite tight. But for Kevin Rawshite, he really did close in a little bit during that race by taking victory, picking points off Danny Henry, but most importantly off Tim Docker, who was leading the championship, is still leading the championship, but that margin is coming down. Can Docker hang on to the end of the season? Well, I can't tell you. We'll have to wait until we get there. And so day 1 almost done at the Nürburgring, but for the McLaren Trophy Europe guys, it most certainly is. They'll have to start having a chat, enjoy the successes they achieved, and look forward to tomorrow. And our race tomorrow for the McLaren Trophy starts just after lunch. If you finish your lunch by 1 o'clock Central European time, you will be fine. Beautiful evening now, and let's hope we'll have another beautiful evening after a day of full sunshine here at the Nürburgring tomorrow. You never can tell, Tommy, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the morning. It was a slow start today, but certainly for the crews involved, it was an enjoyable day. And for the number 28 crew, Andrea Skryling, who started, and Kevin Rawshite, who finished it. We just heard from him in the paddock. Victory in the AM class, maximum points all, but of course that does mean tomorrow they will have the longer time at a pit stop. So it's you sort of delighted you win, you go, has rather affected my next race. But it's, again, you have to work out where you want to have those stops. But nice clean racing today. And as often happens after a race, it's herding the drivers towards the podium that can be one of the toughest jobs. Because when the race is over, the drivers' adrenaline has gone away. They might be celebrating with friends and family. They sort of forget that the procedure ends with a podium ceremony.
Often the way I think is if you're doing well and you're on the top step of the podium, you tend not to forget because you want to be there and spraying the champagne. But yeah, great to see again a great race for McLaren Trophy. here, first race of the Nürburgring, and that Pro-Am battle between numbers 22 and 88 will obviously swap over in a way tomorrow, because obviously Ryan James and Ollie Webb will get the full success penalty for tomorrow's pit stop. So that could switch it around in favor of the Eric Behrens and Lucas Sundal car.
Exactly so. So out onto the podium come the top three. Closest to us, Leo Caravasili and Sam Harrison. On the far side, Josh Mason and Sam Nesser. But at the top step, well, it's Michael O'Brien coming out first, and the taller figure of Jaden Kelly. Top three runners, they had a cracking race, but all the other crews are going to have to look at the form of the number 17 winners.
Trophies will be presented and handed over by...
So there it is. The caption tells you the name of all the drivers, but it was O'Brien and Kelly on the top step. They worked hard for that one by getting it absolutely right in both stints of the 50-minute race. And you can see the sort of quiet satisfaction on the face of the driver who started from pole position, Michael O'Brien. He's had time to sort of cool off and calm down since he only did the first part of the race, but sat alongside certainly Jaden Kelly, looking remarkably fresh. There's Jaden getting his trophy, raising it on high. All drivers putting good points into their tally, and the Wise have decided to keep their race suits for tomorrow. Sam Nesser, though, just straight in, face full of spray for Leo Caravasili there, but more to come tomorrow. Looking forward to that very much indeed. The second of the two races for the McLaren Trophy Europe, and we don't know what the track conditions will be, but we will take today's race in perfect conditions here at the Nürburgring.
I think whatever happens tomorrow with the weather, we know that we're going to have a real race in our hands there for all classes, which was great to see today. And yeah, so congratulations to Greystone GT there, two of their cars on the podium. And for Sam Nesser and Josh Mason, it was the best result if they couldn't win. At least they finished second, so they gained the most amount of points and kept their championship hopes alive.
Exactly. So now we got the Pro-Am podium, and Klaus Halsik and Brad Ellis, first ones out there. The second crew, Eric Behrens and Lucas Sundal. And waiting for our class winners, it's Ollie Webb and Ryan James. Ryan out first, Ollie out second, up onto the top step. Smiles all round.
Great to see Klaus Halsik there on the third step of the podium. It's his home race, and yeah, really good result there. He did a solid job there, didn't make any mistakes. They gave the car back to Brad Ellis, who fought back to give him that podium.
So Ryan James's national anthem ringing out, and Ollie Webb smiling alongside. There they are on the top step, and of course for Ryan, there's you know, he's also back on home turf. There's now a McLaren Trophy North America Series, so you know, plenty for him to consider with these cars.
Yes, absolutely. It's going from strength to strength in America. They had a great race there where the winner was Tommy Pintos Jr., our inaugural champion here in Europe, and he's now racing in the US. And in fact, Tommy Pintos, I think, is in the paddock. Another one of young talents from McLaren there. So,
yeah, careers made across the globe. And we've seen this with GT3 racing and McLaren Trophy. Klaus Halsik does have the biggest smile on that podium, doesn't he? Third place it may have been with Brad Ellis, but as you say, home circuit for him, and smiles all around. There he is, second from the right, spraying the champagne, big smiles.
Whatever happens in a race, Klaus is always smiling. He's one of the nicest characters I've come across in the paddock, and him and Brad Ellis are a fantastic pairing there. So learning lots from Brad, obviously a very, very experienced pro. And yeah, just a joy to work with these guys, and yeah, great to see him on the podium.
It is, and also look, the whole point about going racing is to have a good time, isn't it, and to succeed. But we've still got the AM podium, and it's just starting to load up, and that's Tim Docker, who came out first. Second place is car number 15's driver, that is Danny Henry. But onto the top step will come Andreas Greiling and Kevin Rawshite. The chase was on, and certainly Danny fought very hard indeed. He went solo, as did the driver of 78, that did Tim Docker. These two, they shared it out, but on the top step, Andreas Greiling on the left, and closer to us, Kevin Rawshite. So, let's look forward to tomorrow's race. The AM podium is just over for now, but who's going to win tomorrow? Will it be sunny tomorrow? We don't know, but we will be back in the afternoon for the McLaren Trophy race. Join us then.